So
All right.
this film is about two young people who are emerging into the Hollywood scene. Did you draw on your original experiences as actors, coming into this?
Yeah, I mean, I felt certainly when we were making the movie that I was still very much in that. I still do, like kind of a beginner, I guess, in certain ways. And so, and then getting to be around Warren and doing a movie that was kind of set in old Hollywood and getting to work with someone of his caliber in terms of his work and also the legacy of films he's got behind him was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I felt just like Marla at the very beginning. My mom and I are really close, and she would drive me to auditions and come with me. And Marla was naive, and also at that age, you think you know everything, and I definitely feel like I could relate to that at that age. And she was just very steadfast and strong-willed and determined to have her voice heard. And she didn't take no as a complete deterrent, and that was how I was. And I think partly how I still am.
So what was it like working with Warren? I mean, as an actor and directing, those dual roles that he had, on set. What was that like?
Well, it was interesting to see his when he would direct a scene that he was in, he would do it in character. So he would say, if he wanted you to say it louder, he would say, I didn't really hear you. Why don't you speak up a little bit? And then instead of saying do it again, he'd say, why don't you tell me that again? And it was a subtle thing, but it made for somehow that helped. You just stayed in it more or something.
Yeah, and I think just to watch him get inspired by the people that he was acting opposite to try new things, and then the person that he was acting opposite, for example, myself, I'd want to up my game, because you're definitely not going to not up your game if you're opposite Warren, and we would just kind of have this like ping pong of like almost improv or just trying new things, and that was really interesting because I had utter trust and complete faith in him, because as the director he saw the bigger picture, so he knew where he wanted to go. And like Alden was saying, with him directing in character, you had never had a moment to be yourself and be outside of the situation, so it really enabled you to just try all these different things in a safe environment.
And all the other characters too, because I mean it's such a big ensemble cast.
Yeah.
So getting to work with all these great actors, that must have been.
Yeah. It was very exciting. I think each of them have almost a different place in the movie, and so every week you'd have the opportunity to work with someone like Martin Sheen or Annette or
Candice Bergen,
Candice
Alec Baldwin,
Yeah,
Steve
it was.
Coogan.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was really.
I'd go to set just to watch. Like I didn't even, and Matthew Broderick, like there were scenes that he shot that I wasn't working, and I just thought, well, I can't not see that scene being shot because I know something brilliant's gonna happen. So I just sit there like behind in my chair watching.
Yeah.
I heard that you spent 5 years, previously talking with Warren and kind of getting to know each other before, you actually came on board. So what was that process like?
That was really one of the best parts of it for me, because it was such an education. Warren is so generous with his time, and you can sit and have a 4.5 or 5 hour lunch and just ask him questions about anything he's ever been through, about anything he did in his work, about people he worked with. And he's one of the few people who's still active that had friendships with people like Orson Welles or Louis B. Mayer, or the people of the kind of golden age of Hollywood. And so that was a whole education that I got from him.
One of my favorite things about the film was its blend of comedy and drama. It's like 1 minute you could be laughing about the flavor of the ice cream, and then the next scene it's you two guys arguing outside the elevator. And so how did you guys find that right balance between the two?
We didn't know we were shooting a comedy. No, I mean,
Yeah.
to make a long story short, I think obviously we read the script. The tone is in the script. However, there's so much that happens on set once the characters are cast and you're acting that is unwritten. And I was not aware that it was going to be edited in such a way that humor was such a huge part. And I think that was a great thing, because the movie, to me, feels very grounded in a realness, and a rawness and a real depth that perhaps for me, if I knew I was making a comedy, I would probably have played a lot of the scenes differently. And I think that in life, in order to allow yourself to think about the more dramatic, sad moments in your life, sometimes we use humor, and we need the lightness in order to like make the dark ones even more thoughtful, and then to like ground the light ones, you need the drama. So I think that's what Warren does so brilliantly in all of his films. He has a specific tone that kind of takes you on a roller coaster, and as the actors, at least I was totally on that roller coaster with him, and it's a pleasant surprise for me to have seen what was created, because I felt like an audience member seeing it for the first time in a way.
And what was it like filming the singing scenes? Because I mean, you sung the song twice in the film, and there are two completely different tones to each one of them. So working in both those scenes.
Yeah, I mean, and we sang it live, which was amazing. I had a little earpiece, and I didn't have to match a track or anything, so I could just be in the moment, living and breathing with however I was feeling. And she's a songwriter, not a singer, so if my voice cracked because I was nervous, it was fine, because Marlowe's would have. But yeah, there were two totally different intentions to the song, and I rehearsed hours and hours and hours. But then you kind of have to give all that up to the moment and live and breathe in whatever it is that you're feeling. And yeah, it was nerve-wracking. But also, our crew was so amazing, and other cast members, that I was so trustworthy that the nerves kind of went away. I mean, everyone was in it for the same reason, and no one made me feel awkward or anything. So I got to live and breathe as Marla would have.
So let's talk about future prospects. I know you got cast in Han Solo. What was your initial reaction?
I think I said a lot of things I can't say on your program. Like, I was really excited, and I got a call from the directors of the film, and they told me, and I was just thrilled.
And I know you got Okja coming up, which is a really exciting thing. So is there anything you can tell us about your role in that?
It's wacko. It's such a wacko, crazy cool project. I mean, director Bong is known for his visual aesthetic, and he's so smart. We shot it in Korea. It's just a wild ride. I have bright red hair. My character's name is Red. I mean, nothing about it was anything I'd ever done before. So, it's out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for talking with me.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.